What's up guys, this is Ronnie with eXp Realty and today you are watching the Rescue Ronnie Show, and today I want to talk to you about some of the things that you should be looking for when you're walking through a house when you're making a purchase. So definitely stick around and check it out. Alright guys, we're back. So we're talking about some of the major things that you want to look for when walking through a property. So I'm going to start with the exterior, and one of the major things that I look for are always big ticket items and things that can potentially go wrong. So the first thing is the hot water heater. I always want to find out the age and if it's in good standings, if it's leaking or anything like that. Alright, so here's a hot water heater. You'll see there's a bit of corrosion, and then one thing we always want to look for is signs of leakage or debris that will need to be cleared out. But I also look for the timestamp, because usually it will not last forever, obviously, and you can see this one was put in 1998, so it's well over 20 years, so it may be something where you can leverage a credit from the seller. So another major item that I'm always looking at is we want to find out what's the condition of the roof, and especially on the side of the house where it's getting most of the conditions like the heat and the sun damage. So you'll want to take a look at the house on the sides where I mentioned that it's getting sun damage, and you can see some of the wear and tear of things. And then you also want to see if there's any waves or any dips in the house. That means that there could be some water damage or some dry rot or things of that. So then you also want to make sure you look for spots where debris build up. That's where you can start getting some dry rot and some pulling up of the roof tiles. All right, so another one of the big ticket items that I always check out when viewing any property. Now you can't always get on the roof how I am today, but if they're on the ground, you definitely want to check out and find out at least how old they are, if they have any debris in them, or if they're starting to break down. So they all always have a stamp on them, as you can find here, and the year is 2010, so it's roughly 11 years old. So it usually will have a life of, depending on the brand and stuff, if it's taken care of and serviced, it can go as far as 20 years, maybe even, I don't know, 30, who knows. We want to make sure that there's no debris inside of these, which there is, so we definitely want to get this serviced. But overall, it seems like it's in definitely reasonable shape. All right, so another thing I like to do is I look to actually go high and low on seeing if there's any dry rot, water damage, anything that can potentially cause a bigger problem, like replacing the roof, replacing the siding. So what I do, a trick that I do that I've learned from inspectors and through my construction background, is grab a stick at your house and use that to find out if you have soft spots in the house. All right, so as you're walking the property, you're gonna press on spots that you think maybe have some dry rot. It doesn't look like we're having any in these spaces, but as you can see right here, you can see there's some spots where potentially some water damage or something of that sort. And also here, you look like you press in here and it's soft. That's all stuff that needs to get replaced, and you'll have to think about, okay, does the roof need to get pulled back because this become a bigger problem later in the future? All right, so another thing that I always look for is definitely in window jambs and door jambs in particularly, if there is water seeping in. This is going to cause your dry rots, your molds and things of that sort, if there's water buildup or water and some condensation buildup. All right, so what I usually do is I usually look inside the doors. Is there any spots where there's any sort of water buildup, which it looks like there's some dry rot inside. It's starting to get in here underneath the flooring, and you can also see there's some water damage that's went in here. This can potentially become a bigger problem in the future, so we definitely want to look for things like that. All right, so another thing you're gonna want to keep an eye on is I usually walk the entire fence line and just give it a little shake. Now you can find this here doesn't have a whole lot of shake, but you can see the curvature in this fence. this eventually is going to have to get fixed up. So you can see that there is some spots here where there's some rotting and it's starting to decay, and that's going to be a cost that's going to come to you if you don't negotiate that within the buying process. All right, so one of the last major things that I always look for is the electrical. Now I'm not an electrician, but you can see here there's some uncapped things that potentially could cause a fire or something of that sort, and then I always check the box just to see if there's any scarring or any signs of burn or arcing. So I'll take you over there. All right, so as I told you, you always want to locate the box and just look in here. Now obviously you can get a idea of if there's any arcing. You're gonna see like some scarring and things of that sort, or any sort of just major red flags. Now you're gonna have a inspection go through, but it's always good to know things ahead of time and maybe to tell your inspector what to look for, or if there's any potential problems, you can use those for leverage in the future. All right, guys, so I hope you found value in this video. These are some of the things that I think maybe some people that don't have the experience could definitely look past. So see, these are some of the things that definitely you want to look into and look through a different scope when you are going out and looking at a house or potential houses, and think on what could go wrong and have the mindset of what can go wrong. And I'd love to hear if you guys have some other ones to add. You can put them in the comments, or just note that we definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. So hope everything is good. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. And as always, have the best day of life, and adios.